Welcome back to Baby Takes. Today, I have an NFL mock draft for you. It's my first mock draft that I'm going to do. So I'm really excited for it. Worked really hard on it. Hopefully this isn't too long of a video. I do want to explain some of these picks, but I do want to keep it short and sweet because most likely these picks are not going to be right. So don't want to take away too much of your time. But with that, let's just get right into it. All right, so to get it started, I have Aiden Hutchinson at number 1. I don't think that it's the right choice. I have some other guys that I think are better than him, but I think it's the right position. You franchise tag Cam Robinson, and they haven't traded him yet, which I think they might do. But as of right now, they have not traded him. So I'm going to say Aiden Hutchinson is probably their best player on their board, and they're going to go with him, number 1. Number 2, I kind of have a shocker. I have Malik Willis going to the Lions. There's a lot of buzz happening that this is going to be the pick, and I really like it. You know, he can sit behind Jared Goff for a year. He's got the most potential out of anybody in this draft, quarterbacks-wise. And with a quarterback class like this, you might as well take the guy with the most potential because there's not going to be a lot of guys, in my opinion, that are going to come in and provide right away. So Malik Willis is my pick at number 2. Number 3, I have Trayvon Walker. Once again, wouldn't agree with this pick, but I think this is what would happen at this moment. There's a lot of buzz about Kayvon Thibodeau falling, and Trayvon Walker is the next guy. He's getting a lot of buzz, rightfully so. He's a freak athlete, probably going to be really, really good. But I would rather have Kayvon Thibodeau. Speaking of Kayvon Thibodeau, he's my next pick for the Jets. I think he's the best player in the draft. I think Kayvon Thibodeau is a beast. I think we're forgetting about him. I think we're getting prospect fatigue out of him. You're hearing some of these things like he's bad in interviews. Like, why does that? I mean, it matters a little bit, but like Myles Garrett, I don't think was very good in interviews either. And look at Myles Garrett now. So I think Kayvon Thibodeau fits perfectly with Robert Saleh's defense, and he is going to be a difference maker right away. Next, I have the Giants going Evan Neal. Evan Neal probably has the most potential out of any of the offensive linemen in this draft. Definitely the best pass blocker right away. His run blocking is a little iffy. He needs to stay balanced in doing that. But I think he fits perfectly. You can move Andrew Thomas over to right tackle, move Evan Neal over to right tackle. Doesn't really matter, but pairing those two together would be perfect. Number 6, I have the Carolina Panthers taking Kenny Pickett. This is one I would not agree with. If you're the Panthers, you might as well just wait. And if you're going to take a quarterback this high, I wouldn't take Kenny Pickett. I like Kenny Pickett. Probably the most pro-ready quarterback right out of the gate. But I don't know how high his potential is. And I think the Panthers are just desperate for a quarterback at this point because they have Sam Darnold as their starter right now. So, yeah, Kenny Pickett's probably better than that right away, maybe. But this is not a good quarterback class, but quarterbacks always go high. So that's what happens. So that's what I expect to happen. And apparently they really like Kenny Pickett as well. So next I have Ahmad Gardner going to the Giants. A lot of people don't see this. A lot of people would probably say edge at this position. But the Giants' new D coordinator really, really, really values these lockdown man corners. And there's talk about trading James Bradbury, their starting corner right now. So pair up Ahmad Gardner with either Bradbury or Dory Jackson or both will be perfect for this D coordinator's scheme. And Ahmad Gardner is probably the best corner in the class. He's my number 1 corner in the class. Number 8 is something that I am very confident is going to happen. Falcons drafting Garrett Wilson at 8. Falcons have their best receiver right now is probably Auden Tate. And if you don't know who that is, it's not surprising. Falcons desperately need a receiver, and I think this is a decent range to draft one. A lot of people are saying it's too high to draft a receiver, but we see these receivers coming in and dominating right away with Justin Jefferson. You saw Jalen Waddle last year. It just happens. It's a receiver-heavy league, and Garrett Wilson is my wide receiver 1, and I think he's a wide receiver 1 on a lot of boards. Number 9, I have the Seahawks taking Ikem Ekwonu, probably the second best tackle in the draft. Potential-wise, I think he's the best day 1 tackle in the draft, definitely the best run blocker for sure. And without Dwayne Brown, the Seahawks desperately need a left tackle. I think they could go quarterback here, but it wouldn't make much sense to me. Why would you take the third best quarterback in not a very good quarterback class? Why wouldn't you just wait until next year, especially when you have the Rams in your division, the Seahawks who aren't getting, or I guess the 49ers who aren't getting any worse, and the Cardinals who definitely aren't getting any worse. Wait until next year, get your for sure franchise quarterback, run it with Drew Lock this year, see what you have, I guess, and draft that franchise left tackle for you. Number 10, I have the Jets going Derek Stingley Jr. They need corner help. In Robert Saleh's defense, they don't really value the corner, but imagine if they had a lockdown corner like Derek Stingley Jr. has the potential to be. That defense would be nasty, especially with Kayvon Thibodeau. Derek Stingley Jr. would fit perfectly. 11, I have the Commanders going Drake London. A lot of people don't see the Commanders needing receiver that bad. They say they have Curtis Samuel, they have Terry McLaurin. They don't need another receiver, but Drake London could be that outside receiver that you could pair with Terry McLaurin, and Curtis Samuel's kind of that gadget guy you can put in the slot even. Drake London, I'm not very high on him, but I think a lot of people in NFL really are banking on his potential. Reminds me a lot of Mike Williams, which he's just a big home run threat. He could develop into something more, but as of right now, he's just a home run threat, which could be good for Carson Wentz. Could be a guy like Michael Pittman, which was very good for the Colts last year. So 12, I have Kyle Hamilton. This is about as far as I see Kyle Hamilton falling. Kyle Hamilton is my second best player in the draft behind Kayvon Thibodeau. Kyle Hamilton is a beast of a safety. And to pair him up with a guy like Harrison Smith, you'd have one of the best safety duos in the league day one. Kyle Hamilton is that good. People are falling off because of his 40 times. I'm not worried about it. You watch him on tape, he looks like the fastest guy on the field. So 6'4", huge. It can move like that. I'm not worried about it. 13, I have the Texans going Charles Cross. They could definitely draft Evan Neal or Ika Ekwonu at 3, but I think they get the next best at 13 with Charles Cross. Probably the best pass blocking technique right out of the gate for all the offensive tackles in this draft. So really excited to see what he can do. And I think the Texans try to get that right tackle, left tackle, depending on what they do with Laramie Tunsil. 14, I have Trevor Penning. I think Trevor Penning fits a few systems. He's a mauler. He's a very good run blocking tackle. And that fits perfectly with the Ravens. Not very good in pass pro right now, but you could put him at right tackle, or you could put him at left tackle, try to replace Ronnie Staley, who's one of the best tackles in football when he's healthy. But yeah, he hasn't been healthy the past few years, but I think you stick him at right tackle for right now, really get that mauler of a blocker, huge, athletic, has tons of potential. But as of right now, he's just a really good run blocker. 15, I have the Eagles taking Jamison Williams. Jamison Williams, to a lot of people, is going to fall. I don't think he's going to fall near as much as people think. His injury is not that big of a problem to me. He could easily be the best receiver in this class. He's my wide receiver 2 behind Garrett Wilson. So Jamison Williams fits perfectly. Pair him up with Devontae Smith. They just signed Zach Pascal. You get Jamison Williams outside. Devontae Smith could go inside, outside. Zach Pascal, pretty much an inside receiver. Your receiving core maybe isn't set, but it's good for the future. Try to give all you can to Jalen Hurts. And then the second pick in a row for the Eagles, I have them taking Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd is a top 5 player in the draft for me. Stud of a linebacker. Reminds me a lot of Darius Leonard, but he's just bigger. So that really shows how much potential I think he has. I wanted the Broncos to draft him, but I am high on this Russell Wilson trade, so I'm fine with giving up our first round pick. So Devin Lloyd is my 16th overall pick. At 17, I have back-to-back linebackers going. I have Nakobe Dean going to the Los Angeles Chargers. Nakobe Dean is a beast as well. Reminds me a lot of, I had a name. He's a really good blitzing linebacker and can play in that middle. Not as good as pass pro as Devin Lloyd, but really, really good in run defense and blitzing linebacker. And I think he can be a beast, especially for the Los Angeles Chargers, who desperately, desperately need to stop the run. could not do it last year. I remember Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams went off against the Chargers. 18, I have something that a lot of people don't have. I have the Saints going corner and Kyler Gordon. I like Kyler Gordon a lot. He's a really balanced corner, can play man really well, can play zone really well. And remember last year, the Saints tried to trade up for Pat Surtain, or J.C. Horn, because they really want that guy next to Marshawn Lattimore, who can be a press man corner. They drafted Paulson Adebo, who was good last year, but could be better. And Kyler Gordon, I think, has a lot of potential. And I think he's going to go higher than a lot of people think. I really like Kyler Gordon. 19, I have Jordan Davis. This is about as far as I see Jordan Davis falling. Could easily go 17 to the Chargers, but I see him going 19 here. You just saw it last year. They cut Fletcher Cox just to sign him back. He's obviously not the future. He was getting paid a lot of money. He's getting up there in age. So they draft Jordan Davis here to be that nose tackle. He can get pressure on the quarterback, can easily stuff the run. He's got a lot of potential. 20, I see Desmond Ritter. Desmond Ritter could easily go 9, I think, is his peak. I don't think he goes 6 to the Panthers. I think the Panthers are in on Kenny Pickett heavily. But I think Desmond Ritter is probably my second best quarterback in the draft. I like Malik Willis. I like Desmond Ritter second, and then probably Kenny Pickett third. But as I said, it's not a very good quarterback class, but Desmond Ritter can be a guy that can take an already built team in the Steelers and I think can have a winning record and keep Mike Tomlin's winning record streak alive. I like Desmond Ritter a lot. 21, I have Chris Olave. Chris Olave could easily go 18. I think he could even go 17 to the Chargers. But Chris Olave is getting a lot of hype right now. He's not my second best receiver in the class, but I'm sure a lot of people have him as second best, maybe even best. And the Patriots desperately need receiver help to go along with guys like Jacoby Myers, Nelson Aguilar, who they signed last year, some of those tight ends, Hunter Henry, and Chris Olave could desperately give that to Mac Jones. 22, I have another receiver going off the board, Christian Watson. Christian Watson is a guy that has tons of potential, and I think the Packers finally draft a receiver in round 1. And Christian Watson, I think, is going to be high on a lot of people's boards. I think he's mostly potential right now. I don't think he comes in and dominates like some of these other receivers that we're seeing. But he's long, he's fast, he's athletic. He can really, really, really play. And I really like the fit with the Packers, and Aaron Rodgers could be a better version of Mark Valdez-Scantling who went to the Chiefs. So 23, I have Jermaine Johnson, the edge out of Florida State. This is absolutely the farthest he drops. The Cardinals need to replace Chandler Jones, and Jermaine Johnson could easily be a top 10 pick. I didn't do any trades. I could see a lot of people, if he keeps falling this far, trading up to get him, but I didn't do any trades in this one. I think that would complicate it a little too much. But Jermaine Johnson is a super good edge that could fit a lot of schemes, and he would fit perfectly with the Cardinals. 24, another edge that if he's falling this far, I could see a lot of teams trading up. George Carlaptis to the Cowboys. That Randy Gregory replacement, I think Carlaptis could be a good 4-3 edge, 4-3 defensive end. He could probably play 3-4 outside linebacker, but just he's big, not as athletic as you would want as an outside linebacker to be, but really productive. In terms of production, he's one of the best in this draft class. Just doesn't have that freak athletic ability that you would want to see. The Bills at 25 go Tyler Linderbaum. A lot of people are really high on Tyler Linderbaum going top 10, top 15. I don't think he's going to go that high. I like Tyler Linderbaum in this range. You know, he'd go probably 21, and he's not going to fall any farther than probably 27. But Tyler Linderbaum for the Bills need that guard help. They just signed Roger Saffold from the Titans at guard. So Tyler Linderbaum could slide into that center position as of right now, back up somebody, move to guard. I don't know. I like Tyler Linderbaum as a center, but he could definitely also play guard and be good in that position. As I mentioned, the Bills signed Roger Saffold from the Titans, so the Titans replace him, pick 26 with Kenyon Green from Texas A&M. I think he's the best guard in the class and just a perfect fit. just perfect fit. Doesn't have that pass blocking ability that you want to see from a guard. No, he does have the pass blocking ability that you want to see from a guard. The run blocking is a little iffy, but you definitely need a guard in there to replace Roger Saffold because they have just an empty hole right now. Devontae Wyatt at number 27 for the Buccaneers. As of right now, they have not signed Ndamukong Suh, and this could be a perfect Ndamukong Suh replacement. Plays a lot like him. Not going to have that high up ability that Ndamukong Suh had at one point. But I think Devontae Wyatt slides in perfectly in that 4-3 D-line position, the 5 tech or whatever, 3 tech. 28, I got Boye Mafe going to the Packers. They still have Rashawn Gary, and they still have Preston Smith, but they were really lacking last year in that rotation that they like to have with Zadarius Smith also in there. So I think Boye Mafe fits perfectly in there. Day one could be a top 3 pass rusher in this draft. He doesn't have the potential that a lot of these guys have, but day one could be very good in run defense, and he produces very well in pass rush. 29, I have the Chiefs going Skye Moore. Apparently they really like him. They desperately need a receiver. He could play outside, could play inside. He's a very safe pick because you see this production he has, good route runner, great speed, great hands. Played at Western Michigan, which a lot of people are saying doesn't produce a lot, but I mean, Corey Davis came out of Western Michigan last year. Dwayne Eskridge came out of Western Michigan. So a lot of talent coming out of Western Michigan, and Skye Moore could just be the next guy. Daxton Hill, back-to-back picks for the Chiefs. I think Daxton Hill goes next. He could play safety. He could play slot. He could play in the box, a lot like what Tyrann Mathieu did. They just signed Justin Reed, but I don't think Justin Reed has the potential to do what Tyrann Mathieu does. Daxton Hill, I think, does. Maybe not on the level that Tyrann Mathieu did it right away, but he's got super good potential. And the safeties in this draft are kind of getting shadowed over by Kyle Hamilton, but I think Daxton Hill is the second best safety in this draft. He could play safety, as I said, slot, box, all around really good player. A lot like what they tried to do with Daniel Sorensen last year. Didn't work out like Daniel Sorensen wanted it to, probably, as he is now at the Saints. But 31, I have the Bengals going Trent McDuffie. This is about as far as I see Trent McDuffie falling. Trent McDuffie is a really, really good slot corner, but can also play on the outside. Better in zone coverage than he is in man coverage. But the Bengals desperately, I wouldn't say desperately. Eli Apple had a few rough moments with the Bengals, obviously. But I don't think he needs replaced necessarily. But Trent McDuffie can slide in there and be a really good slot corner with Mike Hilton, who they already have. But he can also be an outside corner as well. And 32, last pick of the first round, I have the Detroit Lions taking Treylon Burks. Very, very high potential for Treylon Burks. A lot of people aren't liking his 40 time either. But you see his production at Arkansas. I'm not worried about it at all. And the Lions desperately need somebody to pair along with DJ Chark and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think this completes their receiving core for at least this year, but also the future as well, as all those guys are young. But DJ Chark is only on a 1-year deal. But that's going to do it for my first round in my first mock draft. Let me know what you guys think. Follow all the Twitters, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I'm going to pop it up right here. So that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for watching.